previously on Counter-Strike.
Does he move? Does he not? Rain doesn't necessarily need to take the fight just yet. Synopsy aggressive, looking for answers on towards B. That was perhaps heard. Twist is on short side.
Maybe not.
No. Brokey. Looking. Bomb. Lost. No. FaZe Clan need a hero, and Twist might just be that man. No, they might check him. Spotted out. Scenario reacts. Oh no, it's only Carrigan. Is this really happening? FaZe Clan demanding a 1v4 from Carrigan or they're out. Escorted off the premises in last place of the Legend stage. A quick tap, but Carrigan 10 HP, 2 to find. This can't be real. A slow start, but a more painful finish. Carrigan 2 to find, and they're out. Unbelievable. Bad news Eagles are the bearers of bad news for FaZe. On the second day, they're escorted out of Rio. Oh my God.
Absolutely crushed the FaZe.
Second is good. Puts Hampus in an early grave, playing around close, trying to bait and switch. It's Zyphon, unchecked, on the plateau, still dealt by Stair. 2 frags to the good. NIP, ears ringing.
And Zyphon's still
Bags
here.
are packed, Rez goes unchecked. Zyphon will get them all on the spray. 1 more to go. Zyphon sends them home, and Sprout live on. Ninjas in pajamas condemned to the 0-3 and join FaZe. Eliminate.
No smoke for this bomb either. They've got kids. They've got to kill. They've got no time to work with. Quick tap. It's a fake out. Dupree spraying away. Madden wins the fight. And Magis, he's going to fall. Surely. Pistol out. 1v1. Valdez in the site with the knife. And it's in a disaster. An embarrassment. Danish domination. In a 2-on-4, the Vitality cannot close. They are out. Going home. What a way to do it.
Insane way for this to close. Valdez, a knife kill. Table. It's OC to be tested, 2 on a strafe. He's too good. Boris post 26. And more damage as Liquid are fading, slipping through their fingers. This game is done. Spirit have done it in 29 rounds of play. Villains in Rio, but elation on the stage for Spirit as North America's hopes and dreams leave with Liquid. We have our top 8.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out.
Wait. Huh? But I thought yeah, I got those, but like 3 out of 8. 9. But I picked 2 right. So you're telling me... Honestly, that just doesn't feel right. But... I'll take it. It's shiny. It really just doesn't feel right, I'm not gonna lie. Oh. Oh well. Hello? Yeah, what's up, Gabe? Yeah, still no CS2 for me, huh? You're giving me pickems 2 weeks early? Oh, great. Actually, I have some comments about CS2 before you leave. Hello? Okay, I guess we got some work to do. Now, where were we exactly? After heartbreak and confusion ensued in the legend stage of Rio 2022, well, we're left here a little flat-footed, thankful for the opportunity to readdress our mistakes in the meta of this game that we love. But it doesn't get much easier for us than it was seemingly last year in that second round of pickems. It only seems to get harder. Let's just put our hand in the trap. Let's just set off the mine. I'm saying FaZe is getting through. Because how am I not? How do you expect to look me in the eyes and tell me this team, the way that they're comprised, of all the stars, of all the experience, how much time they have together at this point with Rops on the roster? It hurts me to put them here with how they've been playing recently. Are they a good 3-0 team? Because we don't actually know that they're going to get through. We don't know that they're going to be one of the 8 that's going to advance. But we do know that they should be one of the best teams in the world. And so putting them in 3-0 is definitely an option, but I'm thinking there's no way they're going 3-0 because they aren't good enough. But they are good enough to get by. Before we move on to the next team, I'd just like to say a couple things. Greyhound, Mongols, Fluxo, Complexity, Apex, those are 5 teams that I'm really not messing with here. The other 11, it can go any which way you want to slice it up, dice it up, and roll it out. You can have OG and forget ENCE. You can have Gamer Legion and forget Pain. You can not include Liquid, NiP, FaZe, and I wouldn't even blink an eye. Crazy that is the way that this is panned out. But with teams like Monty and Gamer Legion and Forza and their performance in the RMRs, and the way that the meta seems to be shifting to this more aggressive style where the younger players, the hungrier players, the quicker on their feet players have the advantage, who knows what's going to happen? Who knows who's going to go 3-0? I can tell you one thing, the 0-3 is still a predictable, somebody's going to go 0-3 that everybody kind of saw coming. That wasn't the case in the last Legends, but I think in Legends is a little harder because obviously those teams had to get there. They had to earn their way to get to the Legends, and so those are a lot better teams. It's harder to predict. But in the Challengers, I think you got a few options that are kind of surefire, that one of them is going to go 3. But moving on, so out of those 11 teams that are remaining, the team I have next is MAOs. They've spent a lot of time together at this point with NXT in their past, semi-finalist, I believe, at Rio. Pretty sure they beat Cloud9. Can't remember, but I know they got far and they played so much better than everybody thought. This is one of those teams that I'm pretty sure you can write down 80-95% of you should have MAOs moving on, and I'm pretty comfortable with having them and not talking much more about it. Next we got ENCE, a team that plays really well together. They have a solid IGL. I think Snappy does a good job of not overthinking the game, which aids in his favor when he wants to close out matches, which aids in his favor when he's going up against younger players who are trying sneakier, less played strats. He sticks with his guns. He's got this new guy Nerds who's fitting in very well, looks very confident, and looks like a sincere upgrade over Valdi. I trust Snappy, I trust ENCE to get through. Not quite as much as MAOs, but more than FaZe. Now we got Pain. Pain's game is just dominating right now. I mean, they are on fire, and they dominate Liquid every time they face them. They look like they're the 1-2 punch for Brazil, for South America with Furia. How will they fare against teams outside of their region? That's always the question for Brazil. When you don't go outside of your region very often, it's kind of like in the March Madness, where obviously Pain has some tournament experience other than just random South America stuff, but when you have a small conference team that does very well, how are they going to fare against the bigger conference, the EUs of the world, against teams like OG and ENCE, like not the top tier, but how are they going to fare in those kind of series? I still think they play so confident. Skulls is playing out of his mind. I think Zevi can be a very strong piece for them, but he's maybe a little bit more of a question mark, and having an Opera that's a question mark makes it a little shaky for me, but I feel pretty good about them going on and beating just about any team here, or having the likelihood of beating any team here in a series. I'm going with OG next. I'm liking the way that I see Nico calling plays. He's a little bit better of a fragger than Nexa. Obviously, he only replaced him a couple months ago. They have the Dexter element. They have one of the best oppers and one of the best clutch oppers. He never seems to get flustered. They played a really good match against Vitality, and I think I like them moving on. It's really hard to tell. There's a lot of good teams in that RMR that I'm not giving credit. Teams that played well, like Apex, I just count them off, but they had a good RMR. But I just feel like OG's been around long enough, and I'd rather bet on them than a team that I don't know much about that's just kind of coming out of nowhere. They could beat a good amount of these teams in a series. If you wanted to go a team like Monty in the place of OG, then I could see that. Definitely. If you wanted to go Gamer Legion, I could see that. Hell, if you wanted to go, well, I guess, I don't really want to, but it's like, what do you guys think? Have you watched them play recently? Just you can tell from the eye test, these guys just don't play well together, and they don't seem to be enjoying themselves. When you match Rez, who seems to be a shell of his former self, with Brawlin, who's never been the player he was on Fnatic, with Alexi B, who doesn't seem to work well with super high-powered players, and then you throw Config and Headtrick there, it's just a confusing situation. I feel like the only way NiP can ever move on is if Config and Headtrick carry this offense, and they will be relied upon heavily. Headtrick has looked good, and I like him, but I don't think he's Monacy per se. I don't know if he can single-handedly carry this team in rounds that they might need him to. That G2 kind of counts on Monacy. I just can't do it. I really can't do it. You'd think that after 0-3 I wouldn't even consider them after they went 0-3 last in the Legend stage. But, I mean, adding Config, it just seems like, they fixed the roster issues. They should be firing off, they should be dominating. It's just not going to work out. I think I see Forza beating them in a series, and Forza actually beats good teams in series. And they struggle to finish games, so I'm a little concerned about them being a 3-0 candidate, but I was considering them being a 3-0. Seeing as though they're kind of like a fringe option here. They have Greyhound as their first matchup, which should be a win. If you wanted to go Gamer Legion, they were my last pick to go 3-0 in the Challenger stage. They were a map or two off away from that. They were 2-0, and then they went 2-3. After dominating Vitality, they could not finish off the last series. Are they the real deal? If you look at their match history, they don't face many good teams. They kind of have an easy schedule. I think they're going to get abused. Monty, on the other hand, who knows? They are as wild card as it comes. Boros had an outstanding RMR. Waro 2K, I can't speak, is talented. They are aggressive, hungry. They're hard to predict for these older heads. But are they simply just best of one heroes? And also, who is Crossnall? Like, he might be the most unknown guy here out of anybody in the tournament so far or left. SDY, seems like a solid leader. He's got this calm persona. He plays very well with these kids. But, Forza has Jerry, and they also have young studs. They got rid of Kenzie and Norway, who have shown to be good players for Aurora. However, they dropped them. So clearly they've had better upgrades around the corner. They have Result, who they got from, I think, VP Prodigy, and who's made some great plays. They have Zorti, who's a solid opper, not amazing, Shelfie, and they filled in the last gap with Crad, who's another good veteran. So they have these veteran leaders that they can use to bring up the young youth. I think it's a good balance of a team that we know about, a team that faces good teams with regularity. They're battle tested, and they have a well fit machine, good pieces all together. I trust them moving on and being able to beat teams in a best of 3 series more than I can say about Gamer Legion or Monty. And last but not least, sorry if I was leaving you hanging, but yes, I am going to throw G2 into this bottom 7. I want to guarantee that they're going to get by. They are facing Mongols in that first round, and just like Forza and Pain, they have an easy 1-0 matchup. All 3 of those teams I would consider for 3-0. G2 I would consider for 3-0 because they are by far the most trustworthy team that I can think of. But, you know, they didn't even make the major last time. Where's G2? Where's G2? So, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen, but I'd rather they make it through and give me a point in my bottom 7 here than to risk them in the 3-0 after losing a one-off to whoever they choose to blow it against. Now moving on up to 3-0. Yeah. I'm not happy about this. I mean, I'd love to throw Liquid in the bottom 7, but who are we going to get? What Liquid are we going to get? Are we going to get the RMR Liquid where they couldn't hardly beat the Nouns? Where they didn't even high-five each other after the game because they're so pissed off and disappointed? Yeah, you made it to the major, but at what emotional and egotistical cost did you make it to the major? I'm putting them at 3-0 because they have an relatively easy first matchup against Apex. If Monty is able to beat FaZe, Liquid's next matchup would be Monty. Either that or Pain. And I'll take that. If they go 1-0, then maybe they can go 2-0, and then I actually will take them in a series. If they're hot, if they're 2-0, I like Liquid in a series. I think they're pretty good. But in a best of 1, who knows? I would love to say that Liquid is going to earn our trust back. It's the typical North American excuse, though. They never had time to practice. They were jet lagged, blah, blah, blah. It's always that with Liquid. If they come out with the same old complacency, bah humbug. This is the last CSGO major. Good riddance. See you later, Liquid. I could see them tapping out. At the same time, who are you going to replace them here with? Maybe with Forza, maybe they beat in a series, maybe with OG. Other than that, I think every other team on this bottom beats them in a series. Pain has proven that, ENCE has proven that, MAO's, FaZe, G2. I don't want to bet on them against. You could definitely throw a team like GL in there. They're facing complexity first off. Hell, you could throw Monty in there if you wanted to, just for kicks and giggles. I mean, they are first in the seeding for this round, for this Challenger stage. But I have Liquid. And finally, last year in Rio, not one but 2 Brazilian teams were knocked out and went 0-3. And I'm going to keep that trend going. You could easily tell me or convince me or try to that the Mongols are the weakest team here. But it seems like Fluxo, who's ranked like 5 or 6 on the South American HLTV team ranking board, merely had a few good months where I believe they beat Liquid in a best of 1, and then they beat EG. They had a couple good games, but this team is not set for the major. They've never been here. You're going to tell me that they're going to come up against Greyhound and Mongols, who seemingly are always in the major, and they're going to have a better strat? We just saw the Mongols beat Imperial in Rio days ago with great strategy, not a fluke win. We saw Greyhound beat Mongols in the RMR in Asia Pacific. And I guess you could say Complexity is a team that might be fallible and susceptible to an upset. But I think Fluxo, in a matchup against any team here, I'm betting against them the most. They start off against Pain, a team that understands them, knows them, so they're definitely not going to get a best of 1 fluke there. Yeah, I mean, Pain just dominated them in the RMR. I think it was like they maybe won 6 rounds in a best of 3. So, but that's about it, guys. I have been preparing for this major for too long, and I want to appreciate and give a shout out to Gabe for giving me this chance. I'm sorry to the NIP fans of the world. Your team is not looking good. I think they should start considering some budget cuts and try to build a team based off of youth, because otherwise you're just going to be a pawn of whatever scheme Alexi B is cooking up. And let me tell you, we are not eating. Okay? I would love to see some of you guys throw Monty in there, Gamer Legion. But if you look at a lot of these teams' match histories, how can you trust them just because they have one successful RMR? Obviously, that's when it counts. You know, that's what gets them into the major. But this is when teams really start to step up and play their best CSGO. I don't know if you guys are feeling the same way as I am, but watching IEM Rio, watching any tournament that's not Valve supported, it just doesn't have the same juice. Maybe that it used to, or maybe that it ever did, as the major tournaments do. This is when teams really step up and they make sure they boot camp, they make sure they're ready, because nothing else matters. Nothing else matters until the next major, as much as this. Thank you guys for watching. Best of luck to you. We'll see you in the next stage, hopefully.